Hey everyone, and welcome back to Remember This Tech. I've got my testing gloves on because I'm going to get into a box of motherboards and peripheral cards that I picked up for 20 bucks. Well, I don't know if anything works, but that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through each and every motherboard, power it on, see if it posts, and what CPU is in it, and if anything works. I'm going to test all the peripheral cards, but before that, we're going to sort through the 2 boxes of parts that I have and show you what I got. And then we'll get on to testing. And we'll jump right through to the post sequence of each board to show you what's in there and if it posts or not. So come on with me on this discovery journey for these 2 boxes of parts and motherboards. Was it a steal? Was it a deal? Or was it just a bunch of junk? Come along with me on the journey and let's find out. Come on, let's go! Alright everyone, let's start off with the peripheral cards. And let's just go through them really quick. In the box was a Sound Blaster Audigy 2 ZS sound card. Looks in pretty good shape. Obviously we're gonna have to plug it in and test it, so this looks like it's in pristine shape, in fact. So if this works, that basically paid for the box itself, because well, this is a great sound card. It is a PCI. And next down the line, well, this is a Creative Labs, looks like a Sound Blaster Live sound card. It says eSonic though, eSonic, but on the front it's labeled Creative Labs. It's got a Creative Labs chip, so I'm not sure what it is, but it says eSonic, so Sound Blaster Live eSonic PCI. So 2 sound cards so far. And next we have a S3 video card PCI, and it is an S3 Verge VX Velocity 3D card. Velocity 3D 1.1. Now these chips didn't get a lot of love, but this S3 Verge VX board, you know, it's supposed to do a little 3D, a little 2D, and all around. 1996, and what I read is that it could be overclocked really nicely, as it could handle it. It didn't do very good. Its rendering wasn't great. So, well, if it works, great. If not, well. The next one is a PCI Trident card. This doesn't have, it just says Pro Video 9685. This could be a 4 meg model, but it could be 2. Has a expansion riser for memory, so it's a JTON Trident card. It's not a peripheral card. It's an Intel Slot 1 CPU. In fact, I looked it up. It's a Celeron. I think it's a 400, and it was stripped of its heatsink. So I need to put a heatsink on there to be able to test it, or otherwise it'd be a real short ride. And then the other items in the box were just too corroded, or, you know, modem cards, stuff that I just would never use. So didn't include that in the overview. Now I'll get on to this next. This motherboard came in the box, and it looks like it has DDR1 RAM, 4 slots. I couldn't really pull up the chipset. I didn't do much investigating, but when we test it, we'll find out. But what I did see was that there was a P4 3 gigahertz CPU in it. No heatsink, of course. 4 RAM slots and 2 IDE and 20-pin ATX with a floppy. And there's lots of I/O on the back here. 6 USB integrated video and audio parallel PS2. The next from the box haul that I got was this motherboard here. Now, note I didn't clean much up because I haven't really felt the need until I'm done testing it. Yeah, they need to be dusted off, blown out. They've been sitting a while. What is this? I looked it up. This is a Tyan S1854 Trinity 400 via Apollo Pro 133A slot 1 in 370 ATX motherboard. If you were savvy when you first saw this, you'd be like, wow, it's got a slot 1 and a slot 370 on it. And I'm like, yep, sure does. It's one of the first boards that came out with both 370 socket and also the slot 1 chips. And you can tell this has not been used. It came with 3 SD RAM slots, AGP 4X slot, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 PCI and a ISA. It didn't feature a lot of I/O since it has only 2 USB, 2 serial, PS2, and a parallel port, but it has overclocking features and it supports both of those chips. Not only that, but this board came with a Pentium 3 1 gigahertz socket 370 CPU. Does it work? We're going to find out. Now this is pretty good score if it works, right? Because the CPU itself could go for maybe 20, 30 bucks, right? Depends on the market. But I didn't just get one of these boards. I got 5 of these same motherboards. And not only that, but this one, the second one, came with a 1 gigahertz Pentium 3 as well. The next board did not, but this fourth board did. So what am I saying here? I got 5 Tyan motherboards, same model make, and 3 Pentium 3 1 gigahertz CPUs. I didn't get any slot CPUs other than that de-lidded, de-heatsink Celeron, but 3 1 gigahertz CPUs, Pentium 3s, so that's pretty good haul. Let me dust these off, set up the test power bench here, and see if we can power any of these on and get anything to post. I'll get out my test components. Come on, let's get to it. First board we're going to test is one of the Tyan boards. It's hard to get all this stuff off, the old crust from the old thermal tape paste. Use the PS2 keyboard and mouse, 1 stick of PC 133, 128 meg. We'll try the number of video cards. I got this PNY card. It's 128 meg. PCI 5500 GeForce. It's not a great card, but I want to try it, and if it doesn't work, we'll try the other 2 cards from the box. So let's get the cooler on here. I've got this new old stock Cooler Master socket 370, and we'll put this on here with a little thermal paste and see if it fires up, see if we get a signal. Let's do it. And there you go. We've got cooler on, power hooked up, video card in, power switch ready to go. Let's zoom into the monitor and see if we get a post. Alright, well we have the fan turned on the CPU cooler. That's a good sign. No signal out yet. From the video card, it could just be the video card. So I went about this testing from this pile differently. I took the Gateway board that I recently did the review on and put one of the 1 gigahertz Pentium chips in there, set up the Verge PCI card, and it seems to have booted. And what that tells me is that the CPU is good from that other board. And the S3 Verge card is also good. So what we have here is trial and error in that, well, if I had a lower clocked Pentium flip chip, like 800 megahertz, 500, whatever, it could potentially maybe work on those Tyan boards for testing, because perhaps the BIOS needs to be flashed to accommodate the higher chip speeds. But for now I can test the CPUs, the graphics cards, and such. So at least I can rule out that the CPUs are good from the haul, and that will recoup the losses at least. So the S3 Verge, 3D Verge works, and one of the chips CPUs works so far. So let's carry on. Well, this Trident card is toast. I pulled the extra memory module off of here and I got brief video out, but it's pretty much dead. So that's one thing dead from the pile. So we'll keep going. I have put in a second 1 gigahertz PE3 from the haul that I got, and the second chip from the board, Tyan board that came with it, is working as well. This is a good thing. So far that's 2 CPUs out of the 3 socket 370s that work. Theoretically, if I get 3, then yeah, it's decent. I still got to figure out what the heck's going on with those boards, so I got a post from one of the Tyan boards. I had to put in a PCI card. In fact, it was the S3 Verge on the second PCI slot. AGP did not work for the card I had, but that's probably because I had an AGP Pro card. I'm gonna reduplicate. Maybe it's PCI 1 slot's not working or something, but I'll put this PCI slot card in, the 5500 FX, to see if that works. But all 3 of the Pentium 3 chips work, which is cool. This board seems to work partially. I'm gonna try getting the BIOS. See some settings in here. Okay, we're in the BIOS, which means that BIOS is intact, but I think that the battery was definitely messed up. But I put a battery in there, hopefully it's good. I pulled it from a machine, and I've been swapping around so much that I don't know if the one I put in there is good or not. And maybe we can get the other last board to work, maybe it won't, but hey, if I get 2 out of the 5 boards to work, and a video card and 2 sound cards with 3 CPUs, that's not a bad deal. This board works. So far, so good. What did we get out of this haul for 20 bucks? Well, only one of the Tyan motherboards worked. I swapped out the processors on a bunch of the boards, video cards. I mean, I tried everything, and only one of those boards worked. But the good news is all 3 of the Pentium 3 CPUs worked fine. The other score that I got out of there was a Creative Labs Audigy 2ZS sound card, which was nice. And I also got another Creative Labs, I guess it's eSonic or something like that, live card, PCI, both of those. And I got one video card that worked, which was the S3 Verge. And it's PCI, it's old. I could probably use it on a really old 486 or a Pentium system for testing and stuff. Do I regret buying that haul? No, not really. I mean, just the Pentium chip and the Tyan board, I basically quadrupled what I paid for it. And it'll give me more parts as well for testing. And maybe I could sell a couple of Pentium 3 chips. I don't need 4 of them, you know. Thanks for coming along with me on this $20 haul reveal. And thanks for watching. Remember this tech.